Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Kyle, and we've got a 60 by 120 farm shop full time-lapse build for you guys. The trusses are just now getting dropped off, and this is day one of framing. Make sure if you haven't, you hit that subscribe button so you follow along with the channel. But we're going to get into this with building our walls. You've seen us do this many times. I recommend highly that if you're building a structure, do as much work on the ground. It's safer, it's easier, you'll be more efficient, and probably a lot more accurate. For us, once we build all these walls, we're going to stand them with our machinery. This is the JCB Teleskid. I've had great luck with it so far this season, but once it's up there, we use that Stabilo plate level, make sure it's as plumb as possible, and then we go ahead and fasten those wall posts right to our Midwest perma columns. Now, I'm always getting questions about those brackets. You can buy them, Midwest perma column. If you go ahead and mention my name or Rural Renovators, RRBuildings, they're going to throw you a discount and they'll ship them directly to you. Man, that was one heck of a first day. You can't ask for a whole lot more, but man, on our second day we sure get hit in the face with a pretty horrible truth here, and that is that our trusses were not made to the correct dimension. So you'll see us put our first one up, we realize it, and then we go ahead and take it down. But fear not, our supplier got right on it, and we were able to get new trusses within less than a week. Actually, I think it ended up being about 4 days. So here they are coming back to drop off the new ones, which were made to spec and good, and we just helped them go ahead and load up the old ones. They took them out of there. I don't know what they did with them, but thankfully we had the JCB telehandler there. Otherwise it might have been quite difficult. But no rest, we're right into installing our trusses. A key thing here is that telehandler. Once we get into that 60 wide, 18 foot tall building, it's definitely a lot easier with a telehandler than it is with our skid loader. Another thing is obviously having those scissor lift. I spent quite a bit of money to invest in those scissor lifts, but they provide us the ability to work out of them instead of up on the trusses, where it's a lot less safe. One thing that's pretty cool about this project is it's got a first for us. We've never done a 40-foot overhead door opening. We've done 40-foot hydro swings, but never a sectional overhead. So we've got this custom I-beam. It's a 6.5 by 21.5, 55-pound I-beam, and it goes up pretty easy when you've got the right machinery, but it is by far the largest opening I've ever had to do on a building of this size. So it's pretty cool to be able to do this, and I can't wait to share with you guys some pictures of the door when it's up. Make sure you're following along on the Instagram feed at RRBuildings, and I'll definitely post some updates probably over that way, because at the end of this video I don't have the overhead doors installed at this point. I went ahead and left this clip in here just because I wanted to show you guys all these chains. Those are what is holding up our building while we're installing all of these trusses, and they are a key component to us making strong, straight buildings that will stand up to the weather while we're in the process of constructing. It's always a sad day when we finish up trussing, because honestly that's probably my favorite part of the job. But take a look at these views and the clouds just rolling through. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just weird or what, but all of the lines and the geometry and just kind of the overall view of that frame when it's all kind of put together, and I just find it so fascinating, and something about all the lines, the shapes, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but drop me a comment down below, guys, if you share the same, I guess, love for the art of the framing. It's just by far my favorite part. As you can see, we really didn't get any rest. We had a little bit of snow come in at the beginning of the job, and we just had another snowfall. So we went from pretty decent weather to pretty crummy weather. Not only is it cold, we got snow, but the wind is blowing, but we fight through it. We start doing all of our soffit and fascia, and we try to prep for roofing. Man, we get pretty lucky because today we came to the job site, and even though the clouds are moving, it was fairly calm. The wind was in the right direction, and we didn't waste any time. We got right to putting up our steel. So what you're seeing here is all in one day. We're able to get the east side of the roof installed, which is what we're on right now, and we get to the west side and get almost half of the roof done before we have to call it a day. It just got a little bit too dark, and we knew we weren't going to be able to get too much more installed before we got all screws in. I mean, I don't like to leave a lot of steel up without the screws in it. Is that not a killer view? I just love that. So now that the roof is installed, we know our building isn't really going anywhere. We leave those chains up, but we more or less use them to make sure that our building stays straight and true and everything stays plumb so that we can start working on our wall finishes. Now for us, this house wrap is really cool for two reasons. One, because, I mean, we're pretty fortunate. We get our logo on it, and obviously if you're interested in that, Kimberly Clark will print you your logo. You just have to buy one pallet at a time, and we use house wrap mainly as an air barrier, not a moisture barrier. Obviously it's going to help us with that, but it's so important for us, especially out here in the middle of the Midwest. We got all this open ground and the wind is always blowing. It truly helps with the efficiency of your building, and it's just so important for us, and we try to use it on every job that's possible. One thing I always try to do is get color matched doors and windows. So right here you'll see we've got the color matched Plico door and the Simonton window. And this job, actually, I talked the client into using some windows. I just think it's a very important thing to do, especially a building of this size. You know, windows are fairly cheap, and I love the windows up high at the eave. They let a lot of light in, but you don't have to worry about the security of people breaking into your shop. So it's kind of a win-win, I believe. Now I know you're probably asking about the house wrap on why don't we install it up in the gables. Basically because we're using it as an air barrier, and I'm trying to prevent air from penetrating into our heated area of the building, which is the four walls and the ceiling in this building. So I'm not really too concerned with a little bit of air leak into my attic space. One thing is true about the Midwest this time of year. You get some beautiful sunsets, but man, is it tough to work a full day because it's dark before 5 o'clock. After we wrapped up some interior bracing that had to be installed in the trusses, which is going to be a permanent bracing, we got right into the ceiling, and we busted our tails on this day because we had to install this entire ceiling as there were some 60-mile-an-hour winds headed the next day, and we knew that the ceiling would add a ton of rigidity and strength, and allow the air to basically come in one door and go out the other without going up into the roof. But this was a lot of work. It was a monster ceiling, and it was really just a team effort, and everybody pulled their weight and did a great job. You'll see here that we worked into the night a couple hours, but we got it done, and that was the important thing. One thing I always do is order some flat coil from Metal Sales Manufacturing, which is our metal supplier, and that's going to be color matched perfectly to our steel on the interior, and that's so we can wrap all of our door jambs and headers, and it just really finishes things off. And I know that it's important to do before that door is installed because it's never going to be done later. Here you can see I'm cutting open the attic access, which we framed in prior to the steel ceiling, and that's really just so the insulator can get up there. Otherwise you're never going to get up there. Now you can really see the size of that opening. It's monster, and I really am glad that you guys hung out with me for just a little bit, watched my video, and really I'm just looking to hopefully, maybe inspire somebody to do a project, educate somebody that's looking to learn something, or hey, maybe you're just looking for entertainment. Whatever it is, I appreciate it, and if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, all those great things. I truly do appreciate it, and if you think maybe one of your friends might enjoy this video, go ahead and share it. I mean, that's totally cool with me, and I greatly appreciate that as well. But for now, I'll go ahead and say goodbye. We'll catch you guys on the next video. Have a great one, and once again, thank you so much for the support.